Good morning and welcome to the September 24th, 2020 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the agenda today, there are speaker request forms on the left of the dais. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. The public hearing on item number 1 is hereby opened. The approval of the August 27th, 2020 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting minutes. All right. Karen moved approval of the meeting minutes. And Mike Kwasny seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Good morning. Item number 2 is a variance request for property located at 4326 Bronco Lane to reduce the minimum required side yard setback from 8 feet to 3.3 feet for an existing structure. Here you can see it's in a developed single-family neighborhood. The dwelling was built in 1995, and the building permit shows that there should be a 9-foot side yard setback on the south side of the property. However, the current property owner had a survey done, and it shows that the structure actually encroaches to a 3.3 feet within the property line. Property zone low-density residential district. Future land use is low-density neighborhood, and showing you in respect to the city, we have Haines Avenue as a principal arterial and country road. Applicant's photo, it's a 1.5 story. And here we have the survey submitted by the applicant. They have also submitted a vacation of utility and minor drainage easement where the existing structure encroaches into the 8-foot utility and minor drainage easement. So that's been approved with utility concurrence, and then demonstrating that the structure doesn't impact drainage. Taking a look a couple days ago at the structure, adjacent property to the south, properties on the west side of Bronco Lane. Again, looking north along Bronco Lane and south towards the intersection. So we can see this is an established residential neighborhood. This is the side of the structure where it encroaches into the easement, so there is that separation. As I said, they did demonstrate that it won't impact drainage. And then on the north side of the house, the applicant, the reason this came up is that the property owner was looking at building a attached garage on that north side of the house, and because there's a non-compliant setback, they had to fix that before they can get a building permit for a attached garage, which will meet setbacks. The variance request is the minimum adjustment necessary for reasonable use of the land, and it should not be injurious to the public or cause any site triangle issues. Staff is recommending approval of the variance request for the existing structure. Are there any questions for staff at this time?
Thanks, Fletcher. Anybody have any questions on this item? Haven?
I assume that you would, if there was an objection or any comments from the neighbors, that would be included in your staff report?
It would either be in the staff report, or you would have a handout in front of you if it came in the last day or two, or I would let you know that we'd received phone calls, but have not received any input from the public in opposition or in support. So,
Eric Hikus?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move approval.
All right. Eric Hikus, excuse me. Eric moved approval on item number 2 to grant the variance, reducing the required side yard setback from 8 to 3.3 feet. And on these, we need to cite a criteria. Is the criteria that Fletcher mentioned is that this is the minimum adjusted needed for use of the property? Is that your thoughts?
I'll amend my motion as such,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Vicki?
if we could for criteria also add, in addition to the minimum adjustment necessary, that it's existing and it's shown that it is not injurious to the neighborhood. So if we can include that second criteria.
Does that work for the motion maker and second?
Yes.
Okay. All right, the motion before us is as you've heard. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that's our last item on the Zoning Board of Adjustment for today. So if there's no objection, we'll adjourn and move to the Rapid City Planning Commission. Anything left for Zoning Board of Adjustment? All right. We will now commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for September 24th, 2020. Again, if any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda, please fill out a speaker request form that located over here along the left wall and hand it to the secretary there. And also again, if you need to take a call on your cell phone, please take it in the hallway, keep the ringer off or on silent. On the consent calendar today, items 1 through 6 have been placed and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the city council. The city council will make the final decision with the exception of the following items. Item 3, 20PD-027, and item 4, 20PD-028. The Rapid City Planning Commission's actions on these two items are final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 6 that staff would like removed?
No, thank you.
Are there any items 1 through 6 that any planning commissioner would like removed for separate consideration?
Yeah, number 6, please.
Number 6. Any other items? And are there any items 1 through 5 that any audience member would like removed for separate consideration? All right, the chair would then entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 5 in accordance with staff's recommendation. All right, Rachel made that motion. And Vince seconded the motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
I just need to recuse myself from this item.
All right, with... Okay. Karen made the motion to approve item number 6. Is there a second? All right, Vince seconded that motion. Or was that Mike? Vince. All right, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries with Rachel abstaining from item number 6. Item number 7.
This is an application to dissolve Tax Increment District number 68. This is the aerial photo from 2008 that you see before you. And this is the aerial photo from 2018. You can see all of the development, including East Middle School, Valley View Elementary, and the subdivision, Homestead subdivision to the east of the schools. This application was to construct the 16-inch water line for the city and some drainage improvements for the developer. It also included construction of about 75 feet of Homestead Street right immediately in front of the school district property. This was the water main easement and temporary construction easement in the location of the city's portion of the project. In the hatched area, that was the grading and storm improvements for the developer. This was created in 2008, this district was. And so here is the spreadsheet that identifies the certified costs, the original project plan costs, and then the amendment that was done earlier this year. Originally, there was $2.2 million identified for improvements within this district or eligible costs that could be expended. In early 2019, the developer's costs were fully paid. They only used 37% of their identified costs from 2008. Just recently, the city's costs were paid off. We used 94%. And overall, this district only paid out 48% of the eligible costs. But with that, we do recommend approval of the dissolution resolution.
Thanks, Patsy. Any questions for her on this one? Comments from the commission? Motions from the Mike? All right. Mike made the motion to approve the resolution to dissolve tax increment district number 68. And Mike Quasny seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8.
This is an application to create a new tax increment district just west of the one that you just dissolved. It's for Homestead Street Extension. The proposed boundary is in yellow, and the location of the public improvement is identified in red. We're going to connect Homestead from Timmons Boulevard to Missoula Street. The city is an applicant in conjunction with Homestead Street Project LLC. Here is the master plan for the project, and again, the location of the public improvement connecting Homestead Street. And the purpose of our district is to construct approximately 900 feet of Homestead so that we can avoid that existing access that the folks in this neighborhood have to use to get from Elkvale to the east. So here's some proposed revenue generators. We have 34 single-family homes on Chet Avenue in the green area. Then we also have 25 single-family homes on Avenue A. They range from $200,000. They'll be constructed in 2020 to 2022. We also have an apartment complex, a 40-unit apartment complex that's not quite done but close. We have a 12-unit apartment complex that's, again, not quite done but very close. That should be completed in 2021. And then we have another 12-plex at the corner of Missoula and DeGeest. No, sorry, Bernice and DeGeest. That is almost done, but not quite. Won't be done until 2021. And then we have another 15-unit apartment complex that should be constructed by 2022. And so to sum that up, we have 59 single-family homes ranging between $200,000 and $250,000, a 40-unit apartment complex, 2 12-unit apartment complexes, and 1 15-unit apartment complex. And as you know, the increase in valuation based on these structures will be used to pay off the eligible costs when those are completed and they certify. And then again, any other increase that may occur from the commercial structure or commercial lots that are also identified. But we're only using the housing units. So here is the estimated project costs. It's a just under $2.9 million tax increment district. The capital costs are $1.5 million, and then the other costs, including financing, is $1.3 million. The non-TIF funded costs are $175,000, and the TIF funded costs are $2.7 million. And so what we're going to get out of this is the construction of Homestead to make it easier for those folks in that neighborhood. Here is the impact to our taxing agencies. You see that there are 2 columns for the school district. That is because the school is not technically impacted. The $1.7 million generated for the taxing levy from the school district actually, if identified as an economic development, will be paid from property owners throughout the state. If it's not considered an economic development TIF by the Department of Revenue, then that $1.7 million will be made up from folks in the Rapid City School District. But we do anticipate, because based on state law, it includes commercially zoned property, then generally they identify that that's a economic development TIF. The county will forego $720,000. We do anticipate that this will be paid off by 2033. The city will forego $480,000. The water district $3,600. Rapid Valley Sanitary District is $4,700, and a total of $1.2 million over the life of the district generally. I did not include the rest of those years. If it does take longer, the last 3 or 4 lines of those increments generated will be generally used as an anticipated date, but I didn't include those. So then after that, I have the amortization schedule for the public improvements. Identifies about just a little over $1 million in financing costs for the public infrastructure. And again, our revenue projectors, in case you had any questions for Homestead. But with that, we do recommend approval. The tax increment district did recommend approval to create the district and establish the project plan. So now your decision then would be to determine that it does meet the intent of the state law based on not less than 50% generating economic prosperity for the state, that it's likely to enhance significantly the value of generally all the other real property in the district. Our policy was very specific that we are constructing maintenance completion of our existing infrastructure, which we're doing, complies with our comp plan, and then again, it will also likely enhance the value of substantially all the other real property. So your options as a planning commission, you can approve it, determining that it meets the intent of the policy and state law, thereby recommending approval of creating the district and approval of the project plan, approve with changes if necessary, or recommend denial of creating the district. If that's the route you choose, then as co-applicants, we cannot submit a new application until 30 days after. I do want to add that with the financing that's identified in the plan, our co-applicant, the developer, is paying for all of the interest costs. So it will be their dime if it doesn't pay off. Are there any questions?
Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, you said the numbers that were based on single-family homes and not these apartment complexes that you...
Well, no, it's based on all of the residential structures on this slide right here, the apartment complexes and the single-family homes.
Okay.
But we do anticipate additional commercial development coming forward. They were just not included in the revenue payoff.
So are those numbers figured based on what they anticipate the rent is, or just the structures?
Just the valuation of the structures.
Okay, thank you.
Eric Hikas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there any mention or consideration of these as criterion fitting affordable housing, Patsy?
No, They could fit the affordable housing based on state law because they are under 250,000.
Thank you.
Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say this is a road that has been anticipated and hoped for a long time, and I'm glad to see that it's finally coming through. It not only will it help all the neighbors from having to go around that, but all the emergency services will have that straight shot, and will save a lot of time and help a lot of people. So I think it's good that this is finally coming forward, and if nobody wants to make a motion, I will make a motion to approve.
All right, Karen made the motion to approve item number 8, the resolution to create a tax increment district and approve a project plan for the Homestead Street extension. And Vince seconded that motion. Haven?
Thank you. You indicated that the developer was going to pay the interest costs, is that correct? And I guess secondly, then, the upfront money to do the improvements, is that funded by the city?
No, they will take the loan out and pay until the increment is generated, so that if there's any interest that has to be paid, they will pay that until that increment actually is paid.
So the developer will take out the loan?
Correct.
Patsy, I did have one question on the interest. Did I see the rate was listed as 7%?
Correct.
That seems on the high side right now. Is there a chance that when the loan is finalized that gets adjusted?
Our policy says that at the same time this moves forward to council, they have to submit their financing package to Pauline, our finance director, and she'll make that recommendation on whether the rate is appropriate or not.
Okay.
If it is less, the interest expenses will just be lower and pay off sooner.
I think it's a great project. I just want to make sure we get the best deal, so to speak, on the loan.
I agree.
Fed's at 0 right now, so.
I agree.
All right, motion on the floor is to approve. Any further questions or comments on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, done with the regular agenda items, discussion items, staff items today?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So we have a very short agenda next meeting. We've been receiving many applications, but surprisingly, they are all administrative. We do have one preliminary subdivision plan we'll be bringing forward. So because of that short agenda, we're going to take the opportunity to bring you a training session on ex parte communication. And I visited with Wade Nyberg in our attorney's office, and it's something some of you haven't heard, and it's always good as a refresher. So we're encouraging you, when you get the agenda and you see how short it is, please attend the meeting. It'll definitely be worth your while.
All right, sounds good. Then I think the only other item is election of officers. So
We typically start with the nomination for the president's position, the chair's position, and then the vice chair, and then the secretary.
okay, don't jump in everybody at once. Nominations for chair.
I nominate.
All right. Karen has nominated me for chair, and Rachel seconded that nomination. Do we just vote on it then? I should know this with this.
You ask if there's any other nominations.
Any other nominations? We sure? All right, then we vote, right?
That's right.
Okay. Voting on the nomination of me for chair. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, vice chair. Okay. Vince nominated Rachel and Karen seconded that motion. Any other nominations? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And secretary. All right. And Mike seconded that. Okay, Rachel nominated Karen, and Mike seconded that. Any other nominations? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, not much action. Any other business today? I don't think we have anything. Look for a motion to adjourn. Rachel made the motion. I see Mike Gallagher seconding that motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.